20 minutes before 8. Now, when the bell rings, you know that holidays are over and it's back to school. Today marks the beginning of a 12-year journey for first-time learners. But what does this journey mean psychologically for both parents and for the learners? Well, we're joined in studio now by an educational psychologist, Jenny da Silva, who's going to talk about the influence of early childhood development in their academic years. Good to have you in studio, Jenny. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So how important is early childhood development in preparing a child's mind for school?
Well, it is incredibly important, especially in terms of language development, in terms of their emotional development, cognitive development, especially with language. We're looking at developing the child or having the child learn the one language especially, so that they can be competent in that language for school. Of course, language influences your IQ, your intellectual development. So it is incredibly important.
Well, I mean, when one takes a look at township schools, I mean, there really is no form of assessment in some of them, and they just start off, one could call it cold turkey, just thrown into it. And I mean, how does this impact the schooling from there on?
Well, you know, it would if the your environment is especially very important for training that child or for influencing the way that that child develops. The environment needs to be a very protective, a very nurturing environment, and also an environment that is filled with activities that can prepare the child for school, so an enriching environment. When in a township school, if the child is especially not stimulated enough, it could obviously have an impact later on. And when there is no assessments really take place in the township schools, from what I've heard. And that, of course, impacts them later on. If a child is assessed earlier on, if there's a problem, we can pick it up and deal with it then. And the prognosis is then better for afterwards, so that we can do something about it.
I mean, there's also issues of stress where curriculum is concerned. I imagine that's a huge thing where, as an educational psychologist, how best can parents and teachers assist to alleviate these stresses?
Well, it's about also focusing on the effort the child makes, and not necessarily accuracy. So really focusing on the effort that they put in, also providing them with a supportive environment, an enriching environment, an environment where the child is supported and loved and all of that, but also supporting their child, definitely supporting them, and also showing their child their skills, their life skills, such as time management and that type of thing, would influence them.
I mean, not all children are academically inclined, and this is a reality. Some are stronger at sports, for instance. You know, how do you nurture this and make this a huge feature for a child? Because, I mean, you know, we focus so much on the academic side of things, and yet children are stronger in other ways as well.
We have to have, you know, when we're looking at child development, we've got to have a look at the child holistically. So not only in terms of academics, but also in terms of their sporting development, their cultural development. So the more we expose children to different sports, to chess, to art, to soccer, they have the opportunities then to understand what it's about, but also to develop a skill. And the more they are given those opportunities to also persevere in those opportunities, they then develop these skills, and then of course they can see where their forte lies.
You know, when you look at the results that we get out at the end of the year, and we see the performance of some of our learners, you know, in your opinion, where is the problem? What is the problem when it comes to South African schooling system? Is there not enough of this that we're talking about here? This nurturing of an educational culture?
Well, there is that. There's also, I mean, the whole discipline thing went out of the window. Well, in a lot of children today, they're not taught to respect themselves and to respect teachers and their superiors and that type of thing. And also, it also comes down to routine. Are they willing to go through a routine to learn these things? Again, the environment that they grow up in. A lot of children do not come from a supporting environment where they are nurtured, where education and the role of education is fostered and its importance. So there are a lot of factors that are going on. Of course, our poverty, our AIDS, and all of that all impact the child. But a lot of them do not have the type of support that they do need.
And we talk about support because a lot of people point fingers at teachers, and it always seems to be aimed back at the teachers. But I mean, when you talk about nurturing, you're really talking about what happens at the home,
yes,
the parenting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Parenting, a lot of parents are away from home at the moment, are working, and children don't really have that opportunity not only to bond with the parents, but they're left to their own devices. And of course, when they're left to their own devices, then they would rather go out and spend time with friends or out doing all sorts of other things. And not enough attention is paid to their schooling and where that schooling can get them in the future.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I suppose advice is needed at a time like this. How do you enhance that best potential in your child? How do you push them along as a parent and help them as much as you can?
Encouraging them to do their best. Also, children learn from their parents. So if they see their parents are determined and really out there, that education is important, and that is the type of message that they receive from their parents, that education is important, that their future depends on this education, it all filters down. And also being able to be positive about their school, believing that they can do it, having the self-esteem, the self-confidence to believe that they can. And that normally comes again from the parents. If the parents are positive, it normally comes out in the child as well.
All right. Well, thank you so much for talking to us.
Pleasure.
Jenny da Silva, talking to us from an educational psychologist point of view, and just, I suppose, reiterating the importance of being a parent and showing your children the best to your ability of doing the best at school. And I think that's what we really need to encourage in our students. All right, let's take a